Welcome back to the latest episode of the CGA Tour podcast. As always here, I'm your host, Calvin Glen Alexander, and it's another podcast talking about Cowboy football, basketball, probably not baseball this week, but I've got Alexi, Bollwerk, and Jake Carlson joining me here on the latest episode. Alexi, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, Calvin. Pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Just enjoying another beautiful day in sunny LA, except for it's dark at 4 o'clock now. Shout out daylight savings time. Jake, how are you doing in Atlanta?
I'm doing well. Sorry, Diana was informing me of the flight info. So.
Oh yeah, where are you guys going for Thanksgiving?
No, this is for when we fly to LAX.
Oh.
Over spring break.
Spring break? All right. Nice. Way to book the flight way ahead of time. That's not me as a person.
That is me as a person. So.
Shout out. You're saving some money. I am booking my Thanksgiving flight today. So good on you guys. And Thanksgiving this year is what I'm talking about. But anyways, thanks so much for tuning in to the How Does Calvin Book Flights podcast. But we're going to talk some college football. Great win this past weekend. Don't know if you guys were all able to enjoy the win as much as me, but basically won 24-3 against West Virginia. West Virginia drove down and scored on their opening drive, from what I remember. Maybe it's their second drive, but scored 3 points, and that was all she wrote. After that, Oklahoma State held West Virginia to basically almost no yards in the game. It's bizarre. Oklahoma State has held past 2 weeks. We've held both teams combined to under 300 total yards. So defense got lit up kind of against Iowa State and hasn't let up since. It's been nice. I know I just really ask a question, but what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, no, it was nice. I was waiting. I didn't know if anyone else was going to go. No, I think you could have said it better. The defense did what it had to do again. I mean, they held them to 3 points, and we didn't see them go down the field again like the rest of the game. So amazing to see the defense just continue to build and build. It looks like every week it's getting stronger. To hold them to a total of 133 yards after they just put up over 30 points against Iowa State. That's pretty incredible. I loved that. I loved the time we were catching West Virginia. I think beating, like I said last week, I think it was really cool to see how they beat Iowa State. I think they were due for a letdown, and looks like that happened. The offense, still looking like the offense. They can't. I mean, what can you say? They do what they have to do. And the defense is just winning games for us. So we don't really have to score 30-plus points like a typical Big 12 team would have to do in the years in the past. So great team win, 2 more wins, and we got to get to OU. So build off of that.
Yeah, I got TCU coming up this weekend, and then, of course, Tech after that before we play the dreadful OU. But with that being said, Jake, what did you take away from the win this weekend?
I will say, I saw someone call our game sloppy, that we had a sloppy win. I thought it was the exact opposite of a sloppy win.
Oh, he backed down from that real quick. It was a tweet, right, from a reporter?
Yeah. It was actually in an ESPN article. And he called it a sloppy win. And I'm like, did you watch Texas A&M and Auburn or no? Because there was not an offensive touchdown in that game. So, but hey, if the Big 12 plays good defense, it's just because the other offense is bad. But if
we know the narratives. Oh, yeah.
If the SEC plays good defense, it's because the defenses are just really good. It has nothing to do with Texas A&M and Auburn having absolutely some of the worst offenses that I've ever seen. I'd rather watch Northwestern play football than watch them play offense. But no, regardless, I mean, we did what we thought we should do. So it wasn't a sloppy game. We dominated at every aspect. So
we are who we thought we were. Is that fair?
Right. We have not ventured off to try and do anything else.
Yeah. I got to say, Spencer Sanders is definitely playing a lot better than he has been earlier on in the year. He's definitely gaining some momentum. He has never played against West Virginia before, which I didn't know before that game. West Virginia had faced a different OSU quarterback for the past 4 years in a row. think from Rudolph to Cornelius to Drew Brown. Shout out Drew Brown. You guys remember that? And then, of course, Shane Illingworth last year. And then they got to play a fifth different quarterback this year, Spencer Sanders. And that was just a fun tidbit. But to me, the game was more like this is who we can be against teams when we're having an excellent day. Like when our play, when our plan goes into action of how we want to play a team, it's this way, it's perfect. And my question to you guys, though, is that we know the college football rankings are just abysmal and bad. But do we think we'll be 10th or higher tonight? Because the rankings come out later on, like this evening on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think we should be. We should be 10. I mean, I'm not going to even think that they'll go higher than that because we've seen it every week. They don't like us, and they don't like the Big 12. So they should take place of Wake, and I can't see them dropping Michigan State far down. And who else? Is there anyone else that lost in the top 10? I know for sure Michigan State. I know Michigan was idle.
Michigan State and Wake are the only two that I know of that were ahead of us. But now I'm trying to find like the college football, rankings.
I think those are the only two. OU was idle. Michigan was idle. They're not going to drop them. I can't see us being any higher than 10. If we are, that's awesome. But they don't like to respect the Big 12 playing good defense. So they'll probably say, yeah, well, that wasn't a good enough win. Although Alabama, they only won by 7 against a garbage LSU team. So, they're not going to drop them. So.
Oh, of course not. How dare they try to do what would be logical? How dare the college football playoffs? I did like the college football playoffs rankings. They're like top 10 teams or they're ranked teams versus AP's top ranked teams. The AP had it right. Like the AP poll, you're not talking about a lot of teams losing. The college football rankings, a lot of teams were lost who were ranked higher in the football rankings, football playoff rankings versus the AP poll rankings. Yeah, that was hard to say. But I'm also a strong proponent of like, hey, we are better than, and I'm just going to spout out some names here: Wake Forest, Notre Dame, OU, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon. I feel like of all those teams, we would beat them on neutral field in a playoff game, basically.
And Calvin, I mean, you and I talked. We think we would smoke Oregon. In smoke, I think we would win by a touchdown because I think that's justifiable for like, but for like, you're talking about a top 10 matchup. Like, if you beat somebody by double digits, I don't know. Smoke is a bad word, but I think we would beat Oregon pretty handedly because they have a worse offense than we do. But
I totally agree there.
We don't get to play Stanford every week. We don't get to play Stanford every week. We just don't.
No, and I would say I've got several friends and or family that are Pac-12 fans who have told, well, yeah, but we don't get to play Texas Tech. Touche. On the same regard, you're also not playing Texas and OU every season for sure. You're playing SC. If you're Oregon, you're playing SC or UCLA, or sometimes both, but then you don't play them both and stuff like that. So the schedule definitely helps out teams in a bigger conference when you play them. Alabama's going to play LSU every single year. I think if the Big 12 had been the Big 14 and whatever, all this, what if stuff, we would have played OU every year. I do think going forward, we won't play OU every year because they're changing conferences, and that should give us all the momentum. But as it being said, I feel really good about OSU beating 6 of the top 10 teams that are ranked higher than us in the country from the college football playoff ranking. I feel pretty good about it just from seeing like how this past weekend went. Now, with that being said, Michigan, I don't get it. I don't get how they're ranked that high. I don't get how Ohio State's ranked that high. I don't get how Oregon's ranked that high. Like, we don't get to play at Stanford, but we also if we lose to Stanford, if we lose to Texas Tech, we're being dropped out of the top, 30, whatever it is, right? Like, we're not being ranked. So it's tough when you see a team like Ohio State, like, okay, who have they beaten? Penn State at Penn State. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Penn State ranked? So, that's my whole thinking. It's kind of like, all right, like is Ohio State that good, or are we just giving them the ranking because they basically have a bunch of names that we know? You know, um, they're in the rankings every year. Their best win of the season is against at the time, 20th ranked Penn State, and that's a home game. Excuse me. So, they beat Nebraska by 9. Whoop de freaking do. I'm just not all that hyped about it.
Yeah, and I mean, Ohio State's schedule is so backloaded, and they've lost to the best team on their schedule this far, and I think Oregon is probably the best team on their schedule all year. I mean, I was talking to my dad about this, and I'm like, he's a Big Ten homer, and that's fine. I think I brought that up last week, but he was saying, well, what about Ohio State? And I'm like, we do this every year with Ohio State, every single year, and they get the benefit of the doubt. We're not allowed to lose a game, but they are. So I don't know. I mean, OSU can only play who's in front of them, and we've played everybody pretty well. So I'll take that for what it is right now.
Yeah, let me ask you guys about, of course, the next game. About TCU. Fun fact: the TCU interim head coach was Mike Gundy's head football coach at Midwest City when Gundy was in high school. So, in case you guys hadn't seen that on Twitter yet, just it's out there. It does exist. It had seen it like 30 times, but I figured out a lot of people listen to the podcast. Cough, my dad cough. Don't necessarily scroll through Twitter 24/7. Twitter uses as a healthy amount. I use it an unhealthy amount. That's why I know this information. But it is what it is, I guess. I'm more interested in this TCU game for 2 reasons. One, TCU put up some awful uniforms last week, so shout out to them. Really not up on the black, purple, and red, but also it just seems like a game we could just be overlooking. That and the Tech game are kind of like these 2 games. I feel like we could, not do great against, I guess. Are you guys worried about that at all?
I will say I actually like the TCU uniforms from last week.
So I thought they were garbage, and Jake liked them a lot.
Fine.
Cool, that's fine. Different opinion. Alexi, tiebreaker here. TCU unis. You want to Google them and see what you think?
I didn't really care for them either way. I was like, whatever. To be honest,
doesn't count.
I'd say if I had to vote, I'd say no. I did not like them because I don't like purple. How about
that? That's fair.
Yeah, all the computer sounds today. Yeah, you're not a big purple fan? I love the color purple.
Nah.
You know why I like the color purple?
Why is that?
Yes, because I was a member of a fraternity at Oklahoma State that was purple and yellow, Delta Tau Delta, who put up a good banner today outside of the house that has that cross through the NCAA flag. So, shout out to OSU, Delta Tau Delta there.
Yeah,
we are happy about that.
We're very happy, but I don't know. We're going to pick the game at the very end, but I think all 3 of us are probably in unison here. We're going to pick OSU and then use it as a tiebreaker of pick closest to the point total.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I don't know. Are you guys worried at all about the game? Feel pretty confident? Feel like it'll kind of go West Virginia-ish? Just, second road game in a row?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very West Virginia-ish, but maybe a little bit more confident. I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I don't feel. I think being a home game, I think, is nice. Coming off the road game against West Virginia, we don't have to go back to back on the road. I think that's nice. I just don't see anything out of TCU that I'd be worried about. I mean, they played 3 times. Their schedule's been really tough. They played OU, West Virginia, K-State, and then Baylor. So not like super easy games. They lost 3 of those 4. They beat Baylor. They caught Baylor at the right time, I guess. They won by 2, but I think we got it. I think as long as our defense shows up like it has all year and we do what we need to on offense, I think we should win by 10 plus, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think we are catching we're catching another team at the right time. Basically we have a team. We get to play a team that upsets a single loss Big 12 team. It's Baylor and Iowa State were single loss Big 12 teams whenever they played West Virginia, and then whenever they played, of course, TC's past weekend. So we get to come play them again, and kind of a good timing thing, like you were saying, Alexi.
Yeah.
About basically playing West Virginia after they beat Iowa State. Big emotional, huge win, and also like the fact that the interim head coach was last week, so it's not necessarily a bunch of huge momentum. And I'm big into the storylines of it. I really like the fact that we get to play them, the week after they have a huge, let's go, what type of win. Where you got Joel Glad and a bunch of others just saying they had the best win of the week, which I'm not disagreeing with. They had a great win. They beat what I think is a good Baylor team, but not necessarily better than OSU, because we beat Baylor, which thank goodness.
I feel like every time we've been on this podcast, I've said that we've been catching teams at the right time. So it's kind of crazy that like every week, like that Texas game, I felt like we were catching them at the right time after playing OU. Last week was great to play West Virginia after Iowa State. So it seems like there's like a little pattern coming along, which is nice. It helps the team. I think, in college, anytime you come off a big win like that, if you're not like a great team, so like TCU or West Virginia, it's hard to get up for the next game and do exactly what you just did. So I think that helps us a lot, and hopefully we continue this stretch of run before we get to the bigger games.
Yeah, I think we'll be playing very good. I'm worried
right
about
now they're
Texas
13
Tech
point
game
favorite.
too. Okay, which
as of right
we'll
now.
have to see. I worry about the Texas Tech game a little bit. I'm not going to lie, just because that's the last one before we play OU. We don't have another bye week, etc. Let's just not overlook Tech. They've given us issues in the past when it's been a night game, and it is a night game at Tech. Now, granted, that's not even this game, so I'm looking at after this game. But I like how we're playing TCU so far. So I don't know. Good one last week. Feel like it could be a good one this week. Feel like we can keep it rolling. Excited to see what the blackout uniforms look like too. It's big. It's a blackout game at Boone Pickens Stadium. Of course, as you can tell from my staunch opinions against TCU's uniforms last week when they wore black. Big uniform guy here. So let's see what they do.
I wish they would start diversifying what they sell online in terms of jerseys.
I really wish you could do custom numbers at least. Like if you could just do it costs $10, $15 more. I understand you can't do that because like NCAA guidelines and you can only choose one number, but the numbers we could been able to choose so far have been 21 or the number 1 on a jersey.
But is that true anymore with the NIL stuff?
It still hasn't. They haven't changed the rule. I haven't at least seen the information that they've been changing the rule yet.
Because you would think if they could be an NCAA, they could have their own jersey.
You would think so for sure,
right?
But I don't think the profiting off of image and likeness can happen by the university yet. Players can profit off of themselves, but I don't think the university can.
Like, because I would love an OSU Cade Cunningham jersey, but I don't know if we're ever going to get that.
I don't know either. I feel like we could see it, but it's going to be like a Facebook Marketplace OSU Cade Cunningham jersey. I would love to see OSU just be able to sell the number 2 jersey. Like you choose a different number for basketball, and you choose a different number for football, and you choose a different number for baseball. And that's it. You move on. Like I don't know.
Well, they have the Thurman Thomas jerseys online. Those are super cool, but no one wants to buy a number 1. Like the only basketball jersey they sell is the number 1 N7 basketball jersey.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
And I'm like, those are cool jerseys, but I don't want to wear number 1.
Speaking as a former real big guy and still a kind of big guy, I don't like wearing the number 1. It doesn't fill up the uniform. It's just like a singular stripe down the middle. It's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, whenever you're like, wearing a jersey or whatever, it's It's kind of one of the things, right? So it's I mean, it's bizarre how it works out at the end of the day. I do like Oklahoma State's jerseys by far and away, but man, I gotta say I'm a big fan of Oklahoma State jerseys. I like the N7 jerseys a lot. My dad and I had the same comment when we looked at them in person. It's a lot of color to just be wearing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, anyways, there's your jersey discussion you didn't know you were getting for the podcast for the past 3 minutes. Let's talk some hoops, though. Tonight is the return of college basketball officially. Oklahoma State played an exhibition game this past weekend. This past Friday, I should say, against UCO. Boyden afterwards, and after all the NCAA rulings, that type of stuff came out, which we covered last week's podcast. Boyden after the game said, "Thanks so much for coming out. See everyone again." So hopefully we will see a lot of OSU orange on the TV tonight. At least I'll be watching it virtually. But yeah, what do you guys have predictions? Just Big 12 basketball / like OSU wise. Do we have the right guys? Can we make a run at this? I mean, granted, we can't currently play in the postseason, tourney, and March Madness. So I'm more or less asking how you think we'll finish the regular season and the standings.
It would be hilarious if we won the Big 12 regular season. It would genuinely be hilarious. Now I don't think we will necessarily, but just because there's so many other good teams in the Big 12, obviously. But we were picked number 4. Is that right? Coming into the season, we were picked number 4 behind Baylor, Kansas, and Texas. We will be the best preseason number 4 team in the entire country if that's the case. And mind you, like OU was picked 7. I can't imagine they're that bad. There is not a world where I can imagine that Oklahoma is that bad. But I hate to say it, I think Texas will probably win the Big 12 regular season.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting regular season. Big 12, I mean, the Big 12, I feel like is just always tough. Like, there's never a night where you're like, oh, easy win, easy game. I think to see what we can build off from last year will be really interesting. It sucks that we can't make that jump and go back to the tournament. But to see the returning players come back, I think is going to be very exciting to see who improves. The newcomers, there's a lot of questions there. Like a lot of great guys that transferred over. Thompson, the Syracuse transfer. We have some guys that can play, so it'll be really fun to watch. I'm excited still to watch the team play because they're back. I mean, this program was down for a couple years. Boyden brought us back up, and now we're here again. So I think it'll be fun to watch. It would be awesome to see us win the Big 12. It'd be like the NCAA. I would just love that. It'd be hilarious. Not that it even matters because it really doesn't, but can they rank us? Like, can they put us in the AP top 15 or top 20? Are they allowed to do that?
I feel much more confident saying yes on this one than I did
I think you can.
Last week when you asked me about Big 12 postseason tournament. Jake corrected me.
I think you can, but I was just like, it'd be kind of cool to see like how far we can go up if we're that good. So, but then again, it's the AP, so we can't be too excited about that.
Everyone's got it out for us, especially the AP basketball polls. AP football polls, we've at least done better than the playoff rankings or the same playoff rankings.
Ken Palm never likes us.
Yeah,
Ken Palm minus
had us really low last year. Yeah.
Ken Palm hates us.
But as a prediction, I think I'll say this: I think Texas and Kansas are the top 2 for sure. Texas is loaded. Kansas, I think, is pretty good too. With this, they had some transfers come in, but I think we'll finish 3rd. I'm going to say we finish 3rd over Baylor and whoever else gives us a run for it. I'm going to say they'll finish 3rd.
Do you think we'll beat UT Arlington tonight? It's a tough matchup. Opening game. We're only 88% in the matchup predictor from ESPN.
Never know. There's been crazy things that happened.
And like we say every year, because it happens every year, we come out flat for like the first 2 to 3 games.
6.
And then somehow we win Big 12 games. Like the way that we play basketball is not fun at all. It's not like I would say it's entertaining, but you're more sitting there going, for the love of God, what the hell are we doing?
Like, we're not the Warriors. The Warriors have a beautiful brand of basketball. It is fun to watch them play basketball because they almost never dribble the ball. They just have a bunch of pass ball movements. The Spurs the same way. We play basketball not like the Pistons in the 90s, but trying to figure out what's
High
a team
pick and
that just
rolls and muck.
we
That's
play
what we do.
we play a lot of Memphis Grizzlies basketball today.
Yeah.
Memphis Grizzlies today basketball. A lot of high energy. We're going up and down the court. We're running stuff. Will it work? Who knows? But
and we will play defense. That is one thing.
Defense.
We will play defense.
And I do not know. Memphis might be horrible on defense. I just have seen Ja Morant go up for enough stuff that he tries from like, yep, that seems like one of our guys to be trying that exact same layup and maybe missing it, maybe making it. Ja Morant probably makes it more than not, but we are college, they are pros, so we'll see how it goes. Tickets are $2 tonight. Alexi, you're the in-state resident? Are you making it up?
No, I was going to, but we went Saturday.
Oh, nice.
Or sorry, Friday night. We went Friday, and not going to go tonight, but we'll make some other games for sure.
How was it on Friday? You got like a rundown of what you thought of, kind of post-COVID and how the game atmosphere was?
It was definitely good to see it back to like, because I remember when we went, they had like the seats like blocked off to where you couldn't sit. So that was nice to not see like any limitations there. For an exhibition game, I thought there was a good crowd. I mean, obviously there were some empty seats at the top, but for an exhibition game, I thought a nice little turnout. Pre-COVID or post-COVID, I didn't think there was, not many people wearing masks or anything. So it was a good time overall. It was good to get back into an arena for a basketball game. But in the back of my mind, I'm just like, we can't do anything this year. It just sucks. It really does suck.
Yeah. But I don't know. Was it a weird game? Because at least it was like 1-point game at halftime. Did you feel like we might lose?
I mean, I never thought we were going to lose. It was definitely like it was weird that UCO played us that close. There were some interesting times in the game where we would like go up by 10 or 12 or whatever, and then they would come back and cut it to 5, tie the game. But again, it was an exhibition game. It was the first game of the season. Thompson looked good. I liked what he showed during the game. I was watching him a lot. Likely. I saw him. He took. I texted my friend. So one of my friends is not. He follows OSU because I do, but we were in Vegas last year, and he took Oklahoma State in a game, and basically I likely just messed everything up for him, and he said he'll never like that guy again. He thinks he plays too sloppy. So I remember likely took it. There were like 5 seconds on the shot clock, and he's just dribbling around looking like to pass. And then he realized there's 1 second left on the shot clock, and he realizes, oh, there's 1 second left, and he just throws it away. He tried to throw it to another player, and then the shot clock violation, and everyone was just like, really? So I had to text him right away and tell him what happened. He was not happy.
Not sure I would be either. Granted, so. Do you think we could finish like 4th in the Big 12, stay where our standings are at? Do we think we'll finish like 2nd behind KU or Texas or Baylor? They're the national champion reigning.
I think from a talent perspective, we might be more talented than Baylor. I don't think we're more talented than Texas or Kansas because one pays their recruits and gets away with it, and the other one has Chris Beard. And as far as I'm concerned, outside of your typical guys, Chris Beard is the best coach in college basketball. I mean, if someone would like to name me another one, be my guest. But outside of the Mark Fuse or Coach K, I guess, those kinds of guys. Outside of them, I think Chris Beard is the best. So him going to Texas, sucks for us, but I think they win the Big 12 because they're returning a lot of people and they have him. I think that goes hand in hand. But I still think we finish fourth just because Baylor has Scott Drew. Not saying Boynton's a bad coach, but Baylor does have Scott Drew. And a lot of the guys they have are returners. I know a lot of their best players aren't returners, but they're still going to be a good team and everybody knows it. So it doesn't,
Yeah.
But if you want to look at the stars next to everybody's name, we might have a couple more stars.
Which is nice. It's not a normal
it's nice
thing for us.
No, it's not normal. It's nice, but for whatever it's worth, on paper, I think we have more talent, but realistically, I don't think we beat out Baylor.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Baylor reigning national champion, granted, lost a ton of guys, but it's not like they don't reload every single year. They just rebound. They don't necessarily have to do much besides that. Scott Drew is an amazing coach, so not taking anything away from him either.
Yep.
When I look up and down our roster, the things that make me really excited about this team is that, listen, Kuma was is a great dude, great guy who got some minutes last year, but it was out of desperation. Kuma is a junior this year. I think will stay with OSU to be a senior, unless he transfers. So maybe the year after this one, we'll see how good he is. But it's nice to see a bunch of other guys who are tall on the roster who can play backup minutes and play center minutes and forward minutes besides Kuma, which, again, really like the guy. He was such a positive energy when he came to games. He had some great moments down the stretch last year. He seemed really kind of come with it. But we're talking about guys all right, we've got Woody Newton, who I'm unfamiliar with, who's 6'8", but kind of forget Donovan Williams back, healthy, good to go, 6'5". Rondo Walker, 6'4", a little bit of size. Bryce Thompson, the transfer. Tyreek Smith, 6'7". So we've got a lot of guys here that I could just name off and go through the whole depth chart of, okay, cool. These guys are, it's not like we're, I don't necessarily want to throw anyone under the bus here and say a bunch of other names, but it's not like we're throwing guys out there because we don't have other options. It's we've got a true, legitimate, playable starting unit and closeout unit that's not dependent on one key player either, which I think we're all kind of excited to see how does year whatever of Boynton, year 4, year 5, Boynton look when we actually have a team that is pretty well put together, pretty well built, and doesn't center around one guy at the end of games too. So digging that, to be honest.
Yeah, and so the one question that I was going to ask for you guys, so say OSU finishes 4th, right, and say one of the top 3 win the Big 12 tournament. So those 3 are basically locked in to the tournament. We've seen in the past 5-6 teams out of the Big 12 make it. Presumably, if we do finish above 5 or above, somebody has to take that spot, right?
Yeah, somebody will.
But would it be somebody from the Big 12?
I don't think it would necessarily be that. I feel like it maybe be just whoever's fighting for a spot, right? Do you think they would go off a Big 12? I don't think they would go off a Big 12. I think they're going to look at it as an overall, who's the better team.
Well, no, I agree, but I'm saying
are you talking about there's only 8 teams that make it to the Big 12 tournament? Postseason? No. Or are you saying just March Madness? Because March Madness, I think they'll just go with whoever.
I'm saying March Madness, but are they? I don't know. Say we finish 20 and 11. Say we finish with the same record that we did last year. Finish 4th in the conference, but then the next place team is 18 and 13 or whatever. Is that team being on the fringe for the Big 12 or being on the fringe for the tournament are they going to be kind of, I don't want to say catapulted, but more in the view of the selection committee because they are in the Big 12 and that OSU cannot go? Like if OU is 5 at 18 and 13, are they going to be like, well, we have to have that 4th team from the Big 12 because there should be 4 anyway? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, should they, no matter what, put in a certain amount of teams from each conference? Because they always do that.
You're
And
right.
if we're like the 4th spot that they would put in, are they just going to default to the next team? I definitely see. Yeah, I definitely see what you mean. I don't think they will, though. To be honest, I don't think they will. I think they would just
I
go with
don't think
whoever's
so
next.
either. Yeah, I don't think they will either. But that was my thought, is like, how are they going to look at the Big 12 as a whole when presumably one of the top teams in the Big 12 cannot go?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like you guys are saying, I don't think they would look at it like that. It's a good point though. I think if they're looking at it as, oh, the Big 12 is a good conference, Oklahoma State's not making it, do we just put that 4th team in because we need that 4th team, or however many teams? I think they would still look at it at a standpoint of who's better. And honestly, what we've seen in the past, who's the bigger brand name?
Yeah.
Because we always see that too. So they're always looking at different ways to put teams in. So I can't say for a fact and confidently that they would just do that because Oklahoma State's not making it. But who knows? We've seen crazy things happen.
Yeah, we really have. I mean, with all that being said, last year, did we lose to ORU last year? Can't remember, honest. Yeah. So this year, I think we should kill OU, but that's just me personally.
Wait, who did you say? Who we lost to? Who? I'm sorry.
ORU, Oral Roberts University.
Oh,
I think we played them last
I thought
year.
you said that. Oh, no. I thought you were saying Oregon State.
Oh, nah. Close.
Bad.
I see what you mean. We basically don't play a lot. I mean, we play NC State. I'm just looking at the non-conference. NC State, Wichita State, Xavier, and Houston and
USC.
SC. So, I mean, it's honestly not a horrible non-conference schedule. It's just nothing to like write home about, I guess. Florida.
Yep. SEC Big 12 Challenge.
Yeah, that's in there somewhere.
Yeah, and
middle of the season.
I will be at that game, but
oh yeah, the 29th of January.
Yeah, Florida might be looking for a new football and basketball coach this year because they've been very much so underperforming just as a whole. I think Mike White probably gets fired last year if their best player didn't have that freak health accident. I don't want to say that like saved his job, but when your best player can't play, that definitely will make you worse.
Mm-hmm.
So,
for sure.
that's mainly what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But if he played and they were still bad, he would probably have gotten fired. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a big grinning here about that, but I do agree. I think that he got some extra time, which honestly, like, needs it. It's a good reason. I think Boynton's gotten some extra time, less pressure, not just because he's won a lot of games, because he's won some, but really because how he's been able to recruit. We haven't seen a guy recruit this good tonight, or this good so far. With all being said, so it's pretty darn nice. Pretty darn nice. Did want to ask you guys about some college football picks. So this last week, if you missed out, Alexi went 4-0. He really went out on a limb. He took Purdue. No one did. Jake and I did not. I think we both took Michigan State there. He also took North Carolina, which Jake also took, and I did not. I thought, oh, Wake Forest. Of course. They're rolling. They're top 10. I was wrong. So shout out to Alexi there, but we're going to do college football, pick them this weekend again. Since we have a little more time in the podcast here, since we're at minute 40, why don't we just go ahead and have each guy pick 2 games, and then the OSU game, of course, we'll pick last year. So, Alexi, since you did win, do you already have a game teed up?
Okay.
I'm just throwing this on you last second, or
There's no, it's fine. We can do it. There's some interesting ones. Definitely a better slate this week, I feel like, compared to last
for
week.
sure.
So, which one do I want to pick? Do I want to pick what I think will happen, or should I pick like an important game? We'll go with the important games. We don't want to pick some weak games.
two. You got two, so you can choose.
Yeah. Okay.
One of each.
I think this is. I'm like so back and forth on it. I don't even know who I would pick, but I want to put it on there. OU and Baylor. I think that's a very, very interesting game, especially with Baylor losing. I think that if I'm an OU fan, I am scared. I'm kind of scared going into that game because it's on the road. Baylor's coming off a loss. I mean, yeah, OU's had weeks to prepare, or an extra week to prepare coming off a bye.
What are you thinking here? What are we thinking?
I'm gonna go with very, very close. I think the bye week prepares them for this game. I think OU wins the game very close. I want to take Baylor, but I'll take OU here.
Oh man, all right. Let's see OU.
Unfortunately, I really want to take Baylor, but I just feel like Baylor's gonna be winning, and then OU's gonna come back and do the whole thing like over again.
All right, Jake, who are you taking here?
I'm taking OU because I think Baylor sucks.
Oh, okay.
I think Baylor is like objectively bad.
So you don't think it'll be close at all then? Like you think it's gonna be a blowout?
I think OU wins by at least a touchdown.
Okay.
What's the spread on it right now?
5.5.
OU?
Well,
okay. So I'm pretty
right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty
so it's at Baylor, right? That makes me feel a little bit better about but it's OU. It's at Baylor. It's a big game. Now, could OU afford to lose this game and still play in the national championship? I think yes. I think it's a possibility. They could still lose this game and play in the national championship. So they could lose. But with that being said, I'm not picking against OU. Learn my lesson. Again, I'm not trying to lose this competition, but at the same point, I'm not going to be that guy who I'm not going to pick Baylor. It's a 9 a.m. game in West Coast. Sorry, it's 11 a.m. Central. So yeah, punt it down the road. All right, move on. I didn't take the upset. I wish I picked against OU, but I didn't. Jake? What about game for you? You got a game in mind you want to pick?
Yeah, I have a little fun game. I'm gonna choose Notre Dame at UVA.
Okay.
So Notre Dame is playing at Virginia. Notre Dame's favored by 5.5. I am going to take Virginia.
Ooh.
Because
the upset.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, this is probably the second best team on Notre Dame's schedule all year, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
I think Virginia would blow the doors off Wisconsin, so anybody can miss me with that. I don't care if they're ranked, but yeah, I think UVA wins.
Okay.
All right. You know what? I'm trying to remember exactly what's the guy's name? He's a tight end, Johnny Woods. Johnny Woods now plays for Virginia, right? So I'm supporting the former Cowboy here. I'm also going to go with Jake on this, but this just seems like a game Virginia would win. They're 6-3. So it's not like they played a ton of great teams either because they're ACC. But when I look up and down their schedule here of who they've lost to this season, it's to a North Carolina team who kind of looks good, Wake Forest, who's kind of looked good, and then to BYU, who's also kind of looked good. So I don't necessarily mean Virginia's 3 losses are bad. They're just against kind of good teams.
I'm very unsure if Virginia plays defense though.
Which is fine. They played good enough. They played good enough defense last week. Oh wait, they lost 66-49. Oh, the week
Imagine
before
scoring.
they
I mean, they're scoring 4 touchdowns and losing.
I mean, Virginia has scored. What's the most amount of points they scored this season and lost? Yeah, they scored 49 points
49
last week, and lost. They've scored 39 and lost. They've also scored 17 and lost. So Virginia probably can't play defense, but Notre Dame not striking me as an offensive powerhouse. So I feel good in the Virginia pick. Alexi, are you gonna be any different?
Yeah, I
Yes, sir?
haven't seen either team play much. I don't know how Notre Dame has. I mean, I know they've lost to Cincinnati, and I mean whatever, but I don't know. This seems like a close game to me too. I'll roll with Notre Dame in a very close one, but I don't know either about. I couldn't tell you one thing about like Virginia, so I'm just gonna roll with Notre Dame here and hope to be up one on you guys.
You guys big fans of the Green Light or Green Room podcast? There's a point in me asking this. You guys heard
The which one?
Green Room podcast?
I have not heard it.
Hosted by Chris. Wait, did I get the
Chris
total name
Long?
of the song?
Yeah,
wait.
Green Light. I listen to
Light.
the Green. I listen to that one frequently.
So I butchered this whole thing. He went to UVA.
Yeah, I would recommend because he has Stanford Steve on every week, and Stanford Steve is pretty cool. So
it's pretty good. It's pretty cool, I would say.
He had Eli Manning on as well, so that's always fun.
Yeah, they did like top 5 Eli Manning. It's just top 5. So it doesn't say what about though. That was top 5 Eli Manning faces that he makes, but maybe not. So that's always a good one here. Let's see. I get to choose a game now, and I gotta say, out of this whole weekend, I'm excited for a game because I think I'll be going. Fingers crossed. I may not go. Playing it by ear here, but Colorado UCLA, big unranked Pac-12 matchup that not many people are going to care about. So I'll just quiz you guys. Who are you taking? I'm taking UCLA. It's a home game. Of course, that's why I might be going. But I'm taking UCLA. Listen, this is the fun game I'm picking. The other game I think will also be fun unless you guys pick it for me. But I'm taking UCLA. They're at home. Colorado's not much to talk about at this point in the season. UCLA is looking to add a couple more wins on this schedule. Do some things. So that's really it. UCLA is favored big to win 86%, and they're favored by 16.5. So
yeah,
roll Bruins. Go Bruins. Whatever the terminology is here.
I'll go UCLA too. So
UCLA.
Whatever.
All right.
Second time
Alexi,
around.
back to you. Second
time around. Let's go with Michigan versus Penn State. This is a really interesting one, and I really hope Penn State wins because screw Michigan. They don't deserve to be in the top 10. In Penn State, the line is even, which means it's a pick 'em. It's literally a coin flip. So I'm going Penn State at home. Harbaugh can't win the big games. He's going to continue to prove that. Give me Penn State over Michigan.
All right. I am taking Michigan, not only because I need to be different than Alexi here and try to get a win back from last week, but I do think Michigan plays a weird brand of football that Penn State's just not set up to play against. I think Michigan runs the ball a lot when they're doing good. They play a lot of good defense. In the games that I've watched Michigan play so far this year, when they've lost, and it was granted, when lost to Michigan State, they made a lot of just dumb errors. Yeah, I mean, their quarterback couldn't do a lot. I don't know. I don't have necessarily a ton more takeaways other than that, but I like Michigan in this one for basically because it is a pick'em game, even though it's an away game. Penn State's not getting any points necessarily. Are they? Are they getting any points, or is it just straight up pick'em?
It's a pick'em.
So with all that being said, Usually you'd pick the home team in this scenario. Alexi's going with that, but I'm taking Michigan. Go blue.
I will never say go blue, but I am also picking Michigan because this game starts at 12. I would pick Penn State if it were a night game.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, what are the theories? But yeah, night game, Happy Valley.
I would pick
yeah,
Penn State
sure.
for a night game, but it's not.
For sure. All right. Jake, back to you here with another game to pick.
Oh, boy. Should I do Maine and UMass?
Okay, there's got to be another like ranked matchup
Just
here we're
kidding.
missing. Like Auburn, Mississippi State. We just picked Auburn last week.
Let's see. Oh, here we go.
Minnesota,
Miami
Iowa.
at Florida State. Here's some garbage for you guys. For some reason, this game's on ESPN and not the ACC Network Plus.
Texas A&M versus Ole Miss.
That's gross. That is
Yeah,
gross.
this game is 3:30 on ESPN, so I know what
Nasty.
I'm not. I know what I'm not watching.
Yeah. Never.
Wait, are we going to really pick a game that you're not
No.
watching?
No,
All right,
absolutely not.
All right.
No.
I was gonna say I'm taking Miami.
Yeah, I guess. I'll pick the game day game. We'll do A&M and Ole Miss.
Like every SEC game this weekend is a ranked matchup, by the way, which is just goes to, if someone's curious, wait, all the SEC teams are ranked? Yeah, always. 14.
Yeah,
You didn't want to pick the New Mexico State versus Alabama game?
Yeah, Alabama's got their cupcake game this week. I think I am going to go. Where is this? It's at Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm. 7 o'clock game.
A&M's favored by 2.5.
Tickets are $60.
I'm going to go Ole Miss, unfortunately.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Alexi, I'll say it. I picked against A&M last week. It totally bit me in the ass. I think both of you guys picked A&M last week, I want to say. Granted, it was a home game, and I picked Auburn. But I'm going to switch to A&M. A&M's favored by 2.5. I don't think it's a lot. But if your favorite is the away team, I'm going to take you. So I'm just going to go A&M here on this one.
Yeah, I think another close one. A&M seems to give up a lot less yards and points to opponents. So I'm gonna go with A&M's defense stepping up here and getting the win in a close game. A&M.
All right. Well, that leaves me, and then there's a very fun game that I'm surprised you guys haven't even brought up yet. Do you know the last time that the University of Kansas won a Big 12 game? Anyone? You guys know?
3 years ago, 2017.
Do you know who they played? 4 years ago.
Was I right? 2017.
I think it was Texas.
Did they beat Texas? Now that you're saying it, I feel like they played and beat Texas, but I don't know for sure.
So they played Texas and beat them. Now, granted, when was the last time Kansas beat Texas in football? 2016. So sorry, 5 years ago, Kansas beat beat Texas in Lawrence though in overtime, and it was their first win in more than 75 years. So this game this weekend is a little different, but it is Kansas, Texas. It's at UT in Austin, and tickets are low as $5. So if you guys wanted to, or Alexi, I guess you're the closest you can make the drive. Not saying it would be a good game though, because Texas is 98.5% favored to win, and they're favored by 30.5 points. So yeah, let's screw it. Why not just pick this game? I don't necessarily see. I'm not picking like a third SEC game. Or another SEC game they're all ranked against each other anyways. So are we all just picking Texas as a clean sweep, or does anyone want to go different?
I'm picking Texas.
Yeah, if we're trying to win, I'm going Texas.
It is for a jersey, so yeah, I think we're all.
But we'll be rooting for Kansas because why not? Especially if we're all on Texas.
All right. Well, last last year thing here is in case there's a tiebreaker that's needed, the OSU score against TCU this weekend. So, all right, we all were over last week. I think that 55-point victory over KU really made us all get green-eyed and thought our offense could score 80 against everyone. But this week it's away game at TCU. TCU is a kind of decent defense. I don't know. So basically, Jake, how many points is OSU going to score this weekend?
I'm going to go 31-10.
Alexi, what about you? What you got?
I will go 26-9.
Alexi, OSU scores 26, and Calvin, I'm taking 21. So I don't think our offense is the greatest in the entire world, but I don't think we're going to have to be. So taking 21. Jalen Warren gets Big 12 newcomer of the week for another week in a row, and we run the ball. I don't know. I feel like that could be it. Well, Alexi, it looks like it's pitch black where you are.
Yeah.
It's 6:10 at night. It is pitch black.
I know, right? It's terrible. Screw this. Feels like it's like 8 o'clock.
Daylight savings time. Anyone in favor
Love
of it
it.
at this point, or we all hate it?
I mean, I never like when it gets dark out too early. It's always nice when it stays lighter out in the evening because you're inside all day anyway. Well, at least I am for work. So it's like after work, sometimes I want to go outside and walk or run or something.
Coming up next, after the break, everyone's take on daylight savings time. So, with all that being said, I don't know. We have any other final thoughts here? Yeah, of course, I'd like it to be darker later than earlier. I think I said that right.
Yep. Nothing crazy. Just a shout out to OSU football for continuing their way. They won 7 in a row against West Virginia. How about that? They're taking it to West Virginia. They're owning them. So
if we lose next year, then I'm going to say you jinxed us for the record.
Sounds good. I'll let you do that if you remember. But
If
shout out to OSU football for the winning 7 in a row, and then to the basketball team for starting tonight. To
we want to
season.
Say how much we're going to beat UTA by.
Ooh, okay.
We're going to cover. The line's at 18.5. We're going to cover. I'm saying no, not a chance.
I said the first game of the year. I say we win by like 15.
Okay.
Maybe.
I was going to go 13, so.
I'm going 10, but we're not doing that as part of any.
Yeah, we'll just say that as for fun.
Hour here. Yeah, I'm not making a graphic, but an hour. So, all that being said, please follow, subscribe, like, comment, rate, review, wherever you listen to the podcast. And thank you so much for listening. We will catch everyone again soon. Follow at the CGA Tour on Twitter and Instagram for more, as always. Like what you're listening, feel free to send us a question, comment, something for the next podcast too. And catch you guys again soon. Peace.
See ya.
Later.